We're joined now by Counselor to the President, Kellyanne Conway. Good morning, Kellyanne. Thanks for coming in on an Easter morning. The President says there is total vindication, complete exoneration, no collusion, no obstruction. I want to start with obstruction. You have seen what the Mueller team concluded, and I want to go to that ending line. While this report does not conclude that the president committed a crime, it also does not exonerate him. So how does the president call this complete exoneration?
No exoneration? Hey, Martha, that's because the term exoneration is being misused by you and other liberals. If you look it up, exoneration in a legal sense means when a conviction is reversed. And as far as I'm aware, President Trump wasn't convicted of Trump-Russia collusion. In fact, they found no evidence for it. Mueller never should have put exoneration in his report because it just doesn't apply here.
I want to go back to obstruction of justice and what Mueller concluded, and I'll read it again. While this report does not conclude that the president committed a crime, it also does not exonerate.
But that's not really, respectfully, that's not really the job of a prosecutor. The job of a prosecutor is to gather evidence and decide whether to indict or to decline to indict. They declined to indict. The president is not going to jail. He's staying in the White House for 5.5 more years. Why? Because they found no crime, no conspiracy. That was the central premise. That is what everybody, including your next guest.
Yeah, Martha's latching on to obstruction for a crime that, reminder, did not happen, and she's beating it into the ground over and over again during this interview.
That they were never interfered or impeded, so there was no obstruction.
We're getting away from this. So will you acknowledge that Mueller explicitly refused to clear the president on obstruction?
There was no reason for him to do that or not to do that for a very simple reason. The central premise here was collusion, and there isn't any. And I am really shocked that the same people
exactly what you were talking about. 2 years he looked at obstruction of justice.
And if he could have charged a crime, he would have, because
so
there's enormous pressure.
This totally exonerates him?
Yes.
From obstruction of justice?
Yes, I do. And the word exoneration was unnecessary in the Mueller report, and I would say inappropriate. I just
can't let go. I have to keep hanging on to the obstruction for a crime that didn't happen.
We're going to talk about the Russian interference. I want to go through this Mueller report. Mueller cites a series of unsuccessful actions the president took to try to influence the investigation, including then White House counsel Don McGahn telling him to have Mueller removed in June 2017, and later asking McGahn to deny that had happened. Here's what the report says. McGahn recalled that the president called him at home twice, and on both occasions directed him to call Rosen.
Okay, we're going back to a finding of no collusion, but I still must continue to obsess about obstruction for the crime that did not happen. I must.
And he has been proven to be
We're talking about what the president said. He called it fake news. He said he did not try to have Mueller. He said he did not have any effort to try to remove. That's not true.
The Mueller report itself says that there was no interference. That document says there was no interference.
The Mueller report I just read to you.
If Mueller wanted to, I'm sorry, if the president wanted to fire Bob Mueller, he would have. In other words, he has the authority to do that. He fired Director Comey. He's fired other people from the White House. He's fired cabinet members.
Why did the president say to the press and the public that he had
thinks
not
the whole
thought
thing is
about
fake news.
Removing Mueller?
He thinks the whole thing is fake news. He was
so it's still fake news? Is the Mueller report?
Impure thoughts about firing Mueller. He's guilty of a thought crime. And speaking about a thought crime, here's a thought crime from ABC News correspondent Terry Moran later in the program.
About a month ago on this program, that if Mueller did not have evidence to support that the president aided the Russians, that's a reckoning for the progressives and Democrats. He has been cleared of conspiracy with the Russians. But does this report leave a clear reckoning for Democrats?
Well, I think it does. Donald Trump is not going to be removed from office for this, whatever the House of Representatives does. Donald Trump's not going to be frog-marched out of the White House in handcuffs. And the 2016 election is not going to be reversed by this. And too many Democrats and progressives
But even with the
hopes
obstruction
on
of
that.
justice, but even with the obstruction of justice that he did not make a determination, Mueller,
Yes.
still a reckoning?
A reckoning for Democrats for sure, because now that hope is dead. And as a result, they are going to go to the public, as many of the candidates already are, with an argument more than, don't you hate him too? Don't you want to get rid of him too? And I think that is a positive reckoning for Democrats. This has been an obsession. This has been something that has consumed energy, political energy in the Democratic Party and in the media as well. And I think getting past that is good for the country.
Right, Terry. Hope for Democrats and Martha Raddatz is dead. But that still won't keep them from obsessing about obstruction for a crime that did not happen.